a Ghanaian soldier. Major Peter Sosi is a retired armed officer who served with the Ghana Armed Forces from 1992 to 2009. He holds a BS bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and MS Masters in Non-Profit Management from Eastern University, USA. He currently has a startup company in the US, AutoCare Mobile Services, that provides maintenance services to automobile users. He is also a co-founder of a non-profit organization,
Peacebuilders Without Borders, which seeks to use non-violent communication tools to promote peace. During his tenure in the army, Major Peter served with the Electrical and Mechanical Engineers Corps. He gained a wealth of experience in automobile engineering, weapon system, logistics and freight management, military technology, security, and peacekeeping. He served with various United Nations and regional missions, United Nations peacekeeping mission in Rwanda, UNAMI in 1994. His first mission, ECOWAS Monitoring Group, ECOMOG, 1995 to 1996, United Nations Force in Lebanon, 1997 to 1998, then 2001 to 2002, United Nations Mission in Sierra Leone, UNAMIR, 2002 to 2003, and United Nations Mission in Congo, MONUC, 2006 to 2007, and then 2008 to 2009. Peter was extensively trained during his career with the army. He studied at the Ordnance Engineering Institute in China, in Moag, Switzerland, Electronic Mechanical Engineering School, Balot, India, Military College, Electronic Mechanical Engineering, India United Nations Training School, Ireland, Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, and Canadian Forces School of Administration and Logistics, Canada. He also obtained certificates in conflict and crisis management, defense management, joint awarded by GAFC SC, University of Canfield, UK, United Kingdom, and the University of Brentford, United Kingdom. He is very passionate about seeing people living together in peace and harmony. He's married with 2 kids. Yeah, that was a short bibliography of Major Peter. Major Peter, welcome once again. Welcome to the US New Times.
Right, thank you so much.
Yeah, today I'm your host. My name's Innocent Awomujisha.
Right.
Yes. Major Peter, what personal memories stand out to you most from your time in Rwanda during 1994 genocide against Tutsi, and how do they shape your perspective today?
Yeah, thank you very much, and I would like to say hello to your cherished listeners. My memory dates back to 1994 when I was deployed in February. Actually, and stayed all the way to November.
Yes.
And I would say that when we deployed in Byumba, everything was fine with us till after April 6th.
Yes.
And if I may continue, April 6th was a day that everything went south. We really didn't know or we didn't see it coming. We knew
Yes.
everything was going to work out well, but unfortunately, that was what happened, and we had to vacate the DMZ in a Byumba area to Kigali.
Yes. Thank you so much. When the UN ordered troops to withdraw, what gave you the moral conviction to remain in Rwanda when most other contingent left?
Yeah, I would say that when we withdrew from Byumba, we went to Kinihira and then to Kigali. When we got to Kigali, we didn't know what was actually happening because, of course, we were young officers. I was a young officer then, a lieutenant. So I was not part of the strategic planning, thinking, and all that. All that we were told was that the situation had become so bad, so we had to withdraw. And I felt like, is that how the UN operates? Because I was a young officer then. That was my first mission in Africa, actually in my first travel outside Ghana. And I felt like the UN was there to protect lives. And once things had gone a bit difficult or there was conflict, why were we withdrawing? Incidentally, we were told that we're going to go to Kenya, and from there we'll come back when the situation improves. But there was negotiations going on, and I think around April 20 something, I've forgotten the actual date. The UN passed a resolution, 912, to reduce the force from 2,500 plus to 270, and I was surprised.
Yes.
Incidentally, I was asked to go back to Ghana as part of the first group that was supposed to go, but I told my operations officer that it wasn't right for me to leave. He said that was not his authority to allow me to stay. But unfortunately, one of our soldiers was not feeling too good, so I told him that I would like to replace him and then stay to see what I can do. I mean, in one way or the other, because I saw Rwandans as my brothers and sisters, my parents, like my father, my mother. I put myself in their shoes, and I felt there was no way I could abandon. It was a moral call for me to stay, actually.
Marvelous. I think it was something very interesting and something that took one to be very brave. Today, we are now looking at Major Peter as one of the most people who stood for justice for the people who were being butchered in Rwanda back in 1994. Major Peter, how did you and your fellow peacekeepers manage to protect civilians despite limited resources, shrinking troop numbers, and immense personal risk?
Yeah, so I would say I was there as a mechanical engineer. So when the troops level became low and we were somehow asked to stay, the UN actually gave us a mandate of 270, but we were 400 and I think 400 plus that stayed eventually. That UN was not even aware of. So I became the force logistics second in command, and what I did was to support the rifle groups, those who were protecting displaced people at the stadium, at various locations, who were providing transport, food, water for them. That was our duty. And in some cases, we provided engineering equipment like concertina wires, ablution point, tents to those who were displaced in especially Kigali area at the airport, and also gave assistance to non-profit organizations that needed transportation to take their goods to maybe the Red Cross area or the hospital or to orphanage. We gave them transportation support. So I was not directly involved in providing security for the displaced people, but we were providing support for them in terms of logistics.
Yes. Looking back, what law do you believe your decision to stay played in Rwanda's path towards recovery and reconciliation?
Yeah, I would say that my role, especially in terms of support, came really into focus when we're evacuating those who were trapped in Amahoro Stadium, Hotel May calling to safe zones that has been designated by the RPF, that's the Rwanda Patriotic Forces and the Rwanda government forces, agreed locations. So, for instance, we took mainly people who were Tutsi dominated, to RPF controlled areas, and that was something that I played a role in. And I would say those that were able to evacuate, you know, they now serve as survivors. They are the survivors now that we can. I have some contact with a few of them that I would say form the basis to tell their
Yes.
story in terms of those who committed genocide against the Tutsi, and also to become witnesses against the genocidaires, if I should put it that way.
Major Peter, what is your say about some of the countries that we have in the world which are still harboring some of the genocide perpetrators, even after being told or after being knowing that these are genocide perpetrators, but they are still harboring them, and they don't want to take them to justice?
So far as I'm concerned, I know there were a few perpetrators who were located in Germany. I wouldn't say Germany, France. I know of France. I know a few that have been brought to justice, but of course there are still some at large that we don't really know. I think there were a couple of them are here. They are in Australia also, which I believe once the necessary process has been taken, they will be able to expedite them to repatriate them to Rwanda for justice. But of course, it will take the government or those involved in harboring these people to bring them to justice. Without justice, survivors are being denied of, shall I say, what perpetrators have done to them. How would they, reconcile when justice is not done? Because the perpetrators did something which was bad. They have to, and then action. That is what I would say. When you do something bad, there's a repercussion. There is a consequences for doing something bad, and those people must be brought to justice. So those governments that are harboring these people, I think, are not doing justice to the survivors and the victims of genocides against Tutsis.
Yes, fantastic. And we continue. Major Peter, what message do you hope the youth of Rwanda who heard your testimonies at Kigali Genocide Memorial take away from your example?
Yeah, I think the youth, especially those who didn't see the genocide happen against the Tutsi, should first of all cherish what RPF did. They sacrificed their lives to stop the genocide. I would say, but for the RPF, the genocide would have continued further. But RPF stepped in, and this was a huge sacrifice. So first of all, they have to, appreciate the efforts of RPF. Of course, the UN was there, but we couldn't do much. And I would say the UN was a failure then. But a few of us who stayed, we did our best, but our best, didn't go that far. I would say the youth should continue to educate, remember, and tell the story of what happened in 1994, so that we don't repeat it again. And of course, with all this at the back of our mind, we have to find very good ways and means to resolve conflict instead of using violence to resolve conflict. I mean, that is something that the youth should really take along.
It's fantastic. Major Peter, do you feel that the international community has adequately recognized the sacrifices made by the Ghanaians, including yourself, and the Senegalese peacekeepers during that time?
I would say the recognition, not that much has been, much has not been said until recently. I think when I was in Rwanda 2019, even some Rwandans asked me what was our role in Rwanda, which meant that still people don't know what we did. And of course, most of the time, some of this narrative are told by big media houses, and if the recognition is not given to, let's say, Ghana, Senegal, and the role they played, nobody will know. So I believe we can tell our own stories. We don't have to wait for somebody to tell our stories. We have to tell our stories so that people know what we did, even though UN was a kind of a failure in Rwanda. The little bit that these two countries especially played, and of course the other countries like the Canadians and the Tunisians, the role they played should be documented and shared in the media.
Fantastic, Major Peter. What lessons should today's UN peacekeepers and the global leaders learn from your experience in Rwanda about courage, humanity, and responsibility in the face of mass atrocities?
Yeah, I personally think the international community failed Rwanda in one way or the other. It might be due to so many reasons. When you put yourself in other people's shoe, or you look at the atrocities people are going through, especially the genocide against the Tutsi, if you consider them to be your own people, let's say your mother, your father, your brother, or your sister, the decision-making process will be different. That is to say that as human beings, we should treat people as human beings equally. We shouldn't treat people differently when it comes to Rwandans. Rwandans are equally important to those issues that were happening in Yugoslavia those days, things that were happening in Haiti. The same attention should be given to them. And it will mean that human beings as we are, we should have empathy. We should empathize with people. And once we empathize with people, we will be able to put ourselves in their shoes and do more, especially the policy makers. Whatever policies we are writing, or whatever resolution that is passed at the UN headquarters, whatever mandate is given, at the back of our mind, we should have it that this could be us in the field, or this could be happening to us, or happening to our relatives, and therefore more effort should be done to maybe prevent some of these atrocities. I think that is one thing that maybe we lack, treating human beings as human beings.
Yes. Yeah, before I ask you the last question, I would want to remind the US New Times viewers and subscribers that we are having an exclusive interview with Major Peter, a former US peacekeeper in Rwanda during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Major Peter, almost at the coming at the end of our interview, the last question, or next to last, what did you learn from President Kagame, and what can you tell the world about him?
Yes, I personally think His Excellency Paul Kagame, at the age of 35 or so, was able to lead a group to restore what Rwanda is today, stopping the genocide against the Tutsi, and also building the country to what we see that has become an attraction for people to even visit and learn from. I believe the leadership he's shown, and the courage, together with his team, everybody playing their role, has really brought Rwanda to this level where Rwanda has the best security that I can vouch for, the cleanest country in Africa, if not the world. All these things show that with good leadership, things can turn around for good for the majority of the citizens. And my visit to Rwanda recently showed that it doesn't take a lot to bring people together, to organize them, to have a kind of a sense of belonging, to be able to build a country that we are seeing today.
Can you relate 1994 genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda and ongoing genocide against Congolese Tutsi today, and what message can you give to DRC?
I would say I was actually served in Congo along the line. I would say the issues that I've found very intriguing is that I know of the Tutsis who are now in Congo, like I would say indigenous, the Banyamulenge, if I'm correct, in the eastern side of Congo, have become like, let's say, indigenous of Congo. And therefore, if there's any way that this conflict can be resolved, it should be resolved through dialogue. Conflict can come, but how we resolve it is the best way to go. Conflict resolution has to do with having effective dialogue, and if there's anything that is creating tension, how do we remove that aspect? And if we accept people, as we treat humans as humans, it shouldn't come to a stage where people are massacred or killed because of misunderstanding, where people who belongs to where. I know the Tutsis who are now considered Banyamulenges have gone roots all the way back many years, and therefore resolving the issue in one way or the other is to kind of see how best do these people stay in Congo and contribute to the development of Congo rather.
As we are actually heading to our interview, the end of our interview, what is happening in southern Kivu today? Banyamulengers are being slaughtered on their broad right, and the world is watching. As a person who was in Rwanda in 1994, and you experienced what actually I would say was a horrific moment for your time, what message would you give to the world leaders who are watching the southern part of Congo, the situation that is there today?
Yeah, I would say it's unfortunate that there's this situation where we always say never again, but we have still pockets of situation that is still brewing in eastern part of Congo. The best way that I believe is that we have to dialogue, and we might have our differences, but how do we live together side by side as human beings? And I would say the reconciliation process that is going on in Rwanda, or has gone on in Rwanda, that has allowed people to live together, even perpetrators, live beside survivors, is through truth and reconciliation. If we're able to allow reconciliation to work its way through to the hearts of all these people, I don't think we'll get to what we are seeing now. So how do leaders of the world, facilitate so that both Congolese, I mean the indigenous, and the Banyamulenges who happen to be in this location live side by side? How do we do that? The best is to create an environment where they can come to their dialogue and face each other and see what the problems that we are facing around the world today is, that it is we against them, and we against them will not solve the problem. We are together as human beings, and if there's anything, how do we resolve it so that we live at peace?
Yes, thank you so much, Major Peter. Let me thank you heartedly for actually accepting our invitation to come and be with us doing this exclusive interview, reminding the USA New Times that today we had Major Peter, a former peacekeeper in Rwanda in 1994. I was your host. My name's Innocent Abumuksha, and I thank you so much. Hope to have you again, Major Peter, next time, and enjoy your stay in the United States of America.
Yes, and I'll quickly add that I'm writing a book on my footprints in Rwanda that I want to share in due course. Maybe hopefully next year it should come out, and I'm laying out some of the issues that are in the lessons that I've learned throughout my service in the armed forces, and particularly in Rwanda. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hope to see your book very soon in the shelves of Rwanda, Major Peter. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Right.